Hi everyone, my name is Cory. I'm the owner of Aquarium Co-op, and today you're watching the first ever episode of Real Fish Talk. So let me explain what that is. That is a weekly web series we're going to do where we're going to talk about fish or equipment or anything in the hobby or anything related to the hobby. And we're going to take comments and questions from the YouTube channel. We're going to bring up important things that we find, just about anything we can come up with, and to keep a dialogue going with you guys every week. I've got Lamont from the store. He's going to be joining me in future episodes, and we got to work on building out the studio here. You can see we've got bare walls. We want to definitely dress that up and change the format and things like that. This is just to get the ball rolling, and the best thing you guys can do is start submitting what you want to see us cover, whether it's you want us to talk about certain fish, you want us to talk about how to build something, you want us to talk about what our opinion on a product is, something like that. Just know that with Real Talk, we're going to be straight shooters. So if you ask us, what's our opinion on product X, and we hate product X, we're going to talk about why we don't like product X. So, we're not going to be a fanboy channel where we're going to, sugarcoat things. We're just going to, we're going to tell you, don't put goldfish in fish bowls. Don't own a 3-foot Plecostomus unless you own a 300-gallon tank with appropriate dimensions or larger. There's lots of things like that that are all going to be opinion-based. But nevertheless, the dialogue will come out, whether you agree with it or don't. Hopefully it's enjoyable for you. So today, I just had to pick a topic, and I'm going to pick how to get cheap aquariums to build out a fish room. A lot of people ask me, how do you afford it, that type of thing, and I'm just going to list some of the ways. So the first one, like right now, if you're watching this video for the next few days or so, the Petco $1 a gallon sale. If you have a Petco near you or a store that's matching that, you can get a great deal. Standard sizes 10 gallon all the way to 55 gallons, 40 breeders, 29s, 20s, and 20 longs. The problem with that is there's sales tax on it. And they tax it based on the total amount. So let's say normally a 40 breeder is $150 at Petco. I don't even know what the real price is because I've never bought one at full price, just because it's insane. But let's say it's $150. When you go and take that tank to the register and it's $40, they're going to tax you on the $150, not on the $40. And they claim it's the way it's being discounted or whatever. So you might come out and you're realizing that a 40-gallon breeder costs you like $58 or whatever it's going to be, depending on your local tax, things like that. So there are some tricks. You can go to either a state or your state might not have sales tax. That would save you a bunch of money right there. The other things you can do if you're going to utilize this sale is in the off season, or the off season as I call it, whenever there's not a $1 a gallon sale, usually you can find gift cards for sale either on eBay or cardpool.com or some kind of online gift card buying site, and for a discount. So typically, if I'm buying gift cards, I'm not buying them for any less than 25% off. And so if you're putting a whole fish room together and you need $1,000 worth of tanks, if you buy all these gift cards and you buy $1 a gallon sale tanks, you're going to save, let's say, roughly $250, and that might be your air pump for the whole central filtration system or something like that. So it's quite a big savings. So that's one way to save money. The next one is when you're buying those cards, and even if you don't buy those cards, use a rewards credit card or debit card, something like that. You're going to save somewhere between, let's say it's another 1% off for your total purchase. So let's say you're buying gift cards and you've used a rewards card to buy that. We're at 26% off, and I realize that the math here is not correct. Someone in the comments is going to go, well, technically you're going to save 1% on the gift card, and then you're going to apply that, and it's actually going to work out slightly different. But for simple math, real talk here, we're just going to go and we're just going to add it and not multiply it and make it a little weird. We're not going to discuss like, oh, how it's not factoring in the tax we're going to pay and all that. So 26% off, not bad. Then make sure you're buying the tanks in increments. And so what that means is Petco, their PAL Rewards program, they have, when you spend $100, you'll get a $5 gift card or a coupon or whatever to use in the next 30 days. So every $100 for the tanks you buy, you're going to save $5. So that's basically 5% off. So now we're at 31% off, and that's 31% off of the already discounted price of $40. There's still one more thing that you can stack on there most times, and that is the coupons they send you in the mail. If you're a PALS Reward member, a lot of times they'll send you a coupon in the mail that says 10% off your next Petco purchase or something like that. So you can save those up, throw them in the wallet, put them in your desk drawer, whatever it is. You never know when you're going to need to buy an aquarium, but you can do that. And so it actually stacks way better, but so we've got 25% off, and I've got as much as 32% off when you're buying gift cards. You've got another 1% from using a rewards card. You've got 5% more from using the Petco rewards. So we're at, let's just average it, we're going to go on the low end, 25% plus 5% or 30%. We're going to add the credit card reward, that's 31%, and then we add another 10% for the coupon. So we're at 41% off. You might be getting out of there with one 40-gallon tank, let's say. You're probably paying around $26, $27, and that's really good. That's going to be really hard to beat. It's way cheaper than my wholesale cost, even if I ordered it from the manufacturer for my store to sell it. And that's why most local stores just aren't going to compete on that level, because it simply can't be done. It's literally cheaper for us to do what I just laid out for you than it is to go buy them wholesale. And some stores will actually do that. They'll buy gift cards when they're in season, typically, because they're going, oh, I better stock up on tanks. So that's why it can be hard to get gift cards when the $1 sale is going on, because you've got fish room people that are building fish rooms, you've got people that own stores that are buying tanks, but the demand is high, so you want to buy them in the off season. That's where you're going to get the most percentage off, the easiest ones to buy, that type of thing. So yeah, that's the best way if you want to walk in and you want to buy a brand new fish tank to build your fish room. Now that being said, that doesn't make for the cheapest fish room. That makes for a very nice fish room, but not the cheapest. And also, let's say you wanted 5-gallon tanks, or you wanted 75-gallon tanks, stuff like that. That's not going to work with that sale. So it's only going to work if you need those sizes. So generally, there's also sales at your local fish store. They tend to coincide when the Petco sale isn't happening. So a lot of times the wholesalers will help out and go, well, now that they've done their sale, let's help you out. And typically you might be able to get larger tanks. You might be able to get some other custom sizes. It's going to be really hard for them to match $1 a gallon. That does happen for some wholesalers sometimes, but you might be able to get 75-gallon tanks at $100 or $90, or especially if you're building a large fish room. And this is a whole other episode where we talk about how to build a good relationship with your local fish store. But if you know you need 30 75-gallon tanks, you can go to your store and you can go, look, I need 30 of these. What's the best price you can do? I'm not going to pay normal retail. Is there a time and they're going to go on sale? And, what's it cost? We can pre-order them. I'm not in a rush, that type of thing. You might get out of there for, I'm getting 75-gallon tanks for $85 a piece, and maybe that store made $10 a tank, and that's $300 to them, and you might be thinking, oh wow, that's a lot of money they're making there. But the reality is there's going to be some work on their side, and they've got to store them all. Like 30 tanks have to come in, they've got to sit somewhere until you pick them up. They're probably going to help you load them into your car. If you have any problems, they're going to help you with the manufacturer. If any come in broken, we have to inspect every single tank that comes in, because if one comes in broken and we sign off that it wasn't broken when it arrived, we eat the cost of that. So you miss one thing where it's got a chipped corner and the wholesale cost might have been $75 on super special from the wholesaler or something like that, and all of a sudden we're really cutting into our profits. Yeah, so it's never a bad thing for your local fish store to make money and you get a good deal. That's the best case scenario, because you need that relationship. If you're setting up that huge fish room, you really want to be able to unload your fish or something like that to them, and it's a benefit for a good fish store to be around in your area that will help you. And it'll help the hobby, which means you'll be able to sell more stuff. It's win-win. So, let's say none of those options are going to work for you. You don't have a good fish store around, you don't have a Petco, or it's not the $1 a gallon sale, and we know it's months out and you want to build today. Well, the other thing is, look at Craigslist. Craigslist, there's lots of tanks. There's people that are going to list their 55 gallon for $800. There's people that are going to list it for $55. There's going to be people that list it for free. You know, obviously the cheaper it goes, the harder it's going to be to find. So maybe what you do is you figure out what tanks you need. You either post an ad or you start watching ads, and it's not uncommon to be able to pick up tanks at 50 cents per gallon, especially while the $1 a gallon sale is going, because you can go, yes, I see you're selling this 55 gallon. You want $100 for it. I can go buy a brand new one right next to my house, and it's only $55. Would you consider taking $25, $30 just for that aquarium today? You can keep all the supplies and you can sell those off. I don't need that. So that's a way to do it. And that's my preferred way, is buying used aquariums, and I would say lightly used, at 50 cents per gallon or less. And usually the bigger quantity you're buying, the less it'll be. So I've bought several fish stores. When a fish store is going out of business, they might list their tanks at $1 a gallon, and you get the heaters and the tops and the lights and all that. What you want to do is you want to be the lowball guy. You walk in and you go, look, I'll buy all of this and I'll pay 50 cents a gallon. Or if they say no to that, you go, well, let's say you have to be out of here by the end of the month. A week until then, what you haven't sold, I'll buy the rest at 50 cents a gallon. And you got to put the elbow grease in, because tanks are going to be dirty from a fish store. That's just how it goes. But you will save a lot of money. And the other thing, while you're there, you can make a big package deal and go, well, how much for the blower you were using to run this whole fish store? And you package that into a deal. And sometimes there's a great deal to be had. Sometimes people are just looking to get out, and they go, look, you can have everything in this building for $1,000. Or they go, oh, you can have this and this and this. And usually the more stuff you start adding into the package, the better deal you get. So one time when I'm buying a store, I show up, I look at tanks, I want tanks. The more I start buying, the cheaper they start getting. And I think I spent around $800 or $900, and I got a bunch of tanks, I got a blower, I got the freezer they were using for fish food, which was just a little chest freezer, but still using it today. And it was one of those add-in deals where it's like, oh, I don't need one, but yeah, I'll give you 20 bucks for one, because I know if I need to buy one, it's a lot more. So 50 cents per gallon is a good used rate. Now that doesn't mean that you're always going to get it, and it doesn't mean you should be offended if someone says no. An average hobbyist spends a lot of money on an aquarium. They go to a store, they buy everything brand new, they spend a ton of money, and then when they go to sell it, they think it's worth a lot of money, and it's kind of like buying a car. The minute you drove it off the lot, it dropped by a lot. The longer you used it, it dropped even more. If it hasn't been detailed, if you haven't cleaned it, gotten all the gravel out of it, we look at it as like it's more work. So, that grungy tank you have sitting in the corner, that is way more work than a brand new tank, and sometimes we're willing just to buy brand new. So, look for 50 cents a gallon, and that's for glass tanks. If we're looking for acrylic, a lot of times you're just going to have to pay more. Acrylic is not necessarily in less demand or more demand, but it is rare. There's never $1 a gallon sale for acrylic. And so it's not uncommon to pay $1 a gallon for acrylic used, and that'd be a great price. You know, if you're buying a 100-gallon tank and you spend $100, that's a good deal. A 180-gallon tank for $180, still a good deal. And typically, the larger the aquarium goes, whether it's glass or acrylic, the more money you're going to pay. Rarely will you be able to find a 300-gallon aquarium for $300. So that's another avenue. Craigslist. Couple more avenues. Go to if you have a local fish club, attend meetings, put the word out, buy tanks cheap there. It's not uncommon at our club anyway, the Greater Seattle Aquarium Society, that tanks at the end of the night will go for $5 or less. And whether it's a 26-gallon boat front, or it's a 10-gallon, or it's a 55, you know, you got to come prepared. Half the people that show up won't have a vehicle to take it home, so they're out of the running. They can't even bid on it. You've got another section of people that don't want it. You've got another section of people where a 26-gallon boat front doesn't do them any good. You know, so if you are at the right place at the right time, definitely deals to be had. Yeah, so the place I don't recommend, and I'm not going to say you'll never find a deal, but maybe it doesn't work out, garage sales, thrift stores, stuff like that. If you're already going to those, then it makes sense. But if you're going to them to look for fish tanks, if you value your time at all, you're going to come out behind. And that's because even if you buy tanks at 50 cents per gallon, but you had to spend all day and you found 4 aquariums to buy that day, you've come out behind. You could have went and delivered pizza, mowed your neighbor's lawn, anything like that, and put that money towards buying tanks and come out ahead. But if you were going with your wife or someone else and you were already going to those places, a thrift store or a garage sale, something like that, or you just want something to do, it makes sense then, because you're not wasting your time. And Craigslist can be the same way. You know, factor in your time and your gas. If you can get a 55-gallon aquarium for $20, but you have to drive 50 miles each way, all of a sudden, you're probably paying more than if you bought one at $1 a gallon from Petco, even though it was only $20. That's something to keep in mind. So really, what you want to do is you want to be able to buy lots of tanks at once. And you know, the goal would be you show up with a truck or a van and you buy 10 or 20 or 30 or 40 aquariums at once, and you can put them all in, you use one trip of gas, that type of thing, you move them all back, it's a great deal. So yeah, that's how you can get some cheap tanks. The other part of building the fish room or getting cheap tanks is not buying stuff you don't need. That's a trap that everyone falls into. And I've done it, and I've watched other people do it. And it's because you're already buying a bunch of tanks from a guy, and the guy goes, well, you know, I'll give you this 55-gallon hexagon acrylic tank for $15. And you're going, well, that's a great deal. That's way less than 50 cents per gallon, stuff like that. But your fish room, you might not even have racks that can hold it. You have no intention of using it. So it's $15 out of your pocket right now that can't go into your fish room, and it's not going to help you get more tanks or more equipment. And you might spend, you know, $50 extra, whatever it is, buying stuff that's a good deal. But the good deal is only if you're going to use it, or you can resell it. And that's a trap in itself. You can go, oh, well, you know, we know that acrylic tanks, you can basically get $1 a gallon. I can probably get $55 out of this tank. You know, and there are ways to kind of trade your way through the system and make that happen. It is labor intensive. You got to clean tanks, you got to test them. And that's the other thing. So for $15, you got a 55-gallon acrylic. What if you get home and it leaks? Now you're out $15, or you got to go buy some acrylic cement and you've got to doctor it up. And when you go to sell it, you have to say, oh, it had a leak, I fixed it, trust me, it works. There's all these things that can go wrong. So, you know, keeping your cash flow open for the good deals is important. I watch a lot of people buy stuff on good deals and then not be able to resell it, and then they miss an actual great deal because their money was tied up in this other fish room project. You know, so if you buy a bunch of stuff and you're going to clean it and you're going to turn it into money and profit, and that a week later, while you're still working on that, someone sells the air pump you need or the big pond pump you wanted to run your whole filtration system on or something like that, an incredible bargain. You don't have the cash flow, you're actually coming out behind. So yes, amassing tanks is not difficult. It will cost money. I would say be choosy. You know, if an aquarium doesn't look like it's in the quality you want to put in your fish room, don't buy it. Even if it's $5 for a 20-gallon tank, that's 25 cents a gallon. If by the time you're done with it, you've got it set up, you're not going to be happy. It's got etching in the glass or a cracked rim or, you know, something you just don't like about it. By the time you put, let's say, a bulkhead in it and a glass top on it and a light and all of that, you might have a $50 unit that the tank itself was $5, and that's one of the most important things, but because the glass is so scratched up, you hate that tank. You wish it wasn't in your room. And that's the purchases you want to avoid. You want to buy stuff that is in good shape. It's not necessarily going to be new, it can be used, but it wants to be taken care of, and you want to be selecting that when you are buying. So start with a plan, know the tanks you need roughly, and start amassing them. Be choosy, you'll save money, it's not a race, and maybe if you've got a better tip than I've laid out so far, I'd love to hear it, because I buy aquariums too, and so do all of the people watching this video right now. So if you've got a way to get cheaper tanks than 50 cents a gallon or $1 a gallon, something like that, post it up in the comments. We'd love to hear about it. If you've got another way to add on to a deal, like let's say you knew another trick for Petco or something like that, let us know about that. So I want to bring this first episode to a close. It's probably shorter than all the other episodes are going to be. We're going to run a longer format. I'll have Lamont as a sidekick here. We'll be able to banter back and forth. We'll have some topics. We'll have comments from you, hopefully. We'll have much more material to talk about. But for now, I just wanted to introduce you guys to real fish talk and get you excited and show you my bare walls, stuff like that. Show you how we're starting so that you can watch us progress and you can help us grow into the format you want to see. If you want to see me review a piece of equipment every week, all year long, we will do that. I think it sounds incredibly boring and I don't plan on doing that. But if you guys really want to see that, we can do that. I think more importantly, if we hit on a few different things every week, maybe we talk about a fish, maybe we talk about some equipment, maybe we talk about, oh, here's how you cure this algae, that type of thing. And you can just have this going on in the background while you're doing other things. It's like a podcast, but it's a vlog. We'll have people, we'll interview people, we'll bring people from around the country when they stop by, let's say talk for our club, or I go visit them. You know, this show is it's gonna be a great one. Make sure you subscribe, make sure you leave comments down below, give us a like if you like it. All these things help get the word out. Please give us topics. We really want more topics. We genuinely want to talk about what you want to hear about. We do it all day long at the store, and getting stuff out on video will help educate everyone, whether it's you want to know what's the best way to keep a betta, you want to know how to breed a fish, you want to know how to set up a turtle tank, maybe you want to build a fish room, which you're watching me do right now. Maybe you want to know, something about me or Lamont or what we do. Put the comments down there. We'll dig through them all. We're going to answer a lot of them, even in the comments field. We will recognize you when we use your topic here in the video. And stay tuned for next week. Maybe we'll get Lamont in here, but we'll see how that goes. We have a lot of stuff to do. I don't know if I can fit 2 people in this room yet, but we're going to make things happen, and it's going to be enjoyable. So make sure you subscribe, and we will see you next week.